Welcome back one and all for the latest episode of the Good, the Bad and the Ugly at Liverpool FC podcast, brought to you by the LFC File and myself, Ben Green. Thanks for stopping by as usual. If the content floats your boat, remember to like, subscribe, press the notification bell and tell your friends and fam. Yes, it's been a while. Unfortunately, there was the international break, and then after that I was in sunny Jamaica for a few days. So I missed last week, and as we know, there's a hurricane on the way there over the next coming days. So to all there, if you're watching, stay safe, look after yourselves and get to higher ground if you can. So on a less important note, I will start with a shameless plug, of course. The season summary for the 2024-25 season, in which Liverpool secured number 20, is available on Amazon for purchase, priced at £8.99, I believe, or £8.50, and I'll put the price here, and £9.99, I believe, in euros and dollars. So without further ado, let's get into it with the good, and what could there possibly be good with Liverpool at the moment. Well, let's not forget they did beat Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League last week 5-1, after of course naturally going behind early on, but Liverpool were able to get themselves back into the game and secure the win with goals from Hugo Ekitike, or Hugo Ekitike, as I will call him from now on, and Van Dijk, of course, and Konate, both with headers, Cody Gakpo with a late effort, and Dominic Szoboszlai with a long-ranged, nicely placed shot. The last two goals were assisted by one Florian Wirtz, who we will discuss a little bit later, after not the best start, but showing glimpses of progress, let's be honest. A good result for Liverpool in what can only be described as a difficult time for Arne Slot and the team. Self-inflicted, I'm not sure, but we will discuss that later. So that's one good thing on the horizon, a win in the Champions League, if nothing else. And we won't focus on falling behind just yet. As it was reported in the Daily Mail by Louis Steele, we've got the headline: Eintracht Frankfurt 1, Liverpool 5. Five-star Reds bounce back from Man United loss with dominant victory as Arne Slot's men end run of 4 straight defeats, which we know has been extended, this run of defeats, but anyway, that's a different topic. So yes, can't complain too much. Only positive in that respect. Moving swiftly on to the bad. And the bad this week is going to be, surprise, surprise, not Liverpool's 3-2 defeat to Brentford on Saturday evening. Terrible performance from front to back. Again, Liverpool fell behind early to a set piece. It was a throw-in, I believe, wasn't it, from Liverpool's right, and that was promptly converted by the hosts, which was converted by Dango Ouattara. So that immediately put Liverpool on the back foot, as is now customary with this lot. And they went 2-0 behind a little later, when Kevin Schade added a second just before Milos Kerkez, who didn't really cover himself in glory, to be honest, gave Liverpool some hope when he scored in stoppage time. Dismal stuff. In the second half, Liverpool tried to get back into the game, obviously in vain, and Igor Thiago converted a 60th minute penalty when Virgil van Dijk brought down one of the Brentford attackers. Well, he didn't bring him down. Well, yeah, he kind of sort of gave him an inadvertent kick, which initially was judged to be an indirect free kick, but then it was changed to a penalty after the VAR intervention. Not brilliant, actually. Mohamed Salah got one back on 89 minutes to, set up a last-minute frantic rush for maybe a draw, which Liverpool wouldn't have deserved anyway, quite frankly. And of course, Brentford were able to see out the game 3-2. Dreadful stuff from Liverpool, absolutely crap. Yeah. You just got to wonder what's going on at the moment. It was covered by The Independent there. You can see their headline: Liverpool's Premier League title defence already appears in tatters. And tatters will be putting it mildly. Andy Sims goes on to say, Brentford 3, Liverpool 2, goals from Dango Ouattara, Kevin Sade and Igor Tiara inflicted a fourth straight loss on Arne Slot's increasingly rattled Reds. Rattled. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. So yes, very bad performance from pretty much everyone. Szoboszlai was the only one who sort of, was digging in. The defence was very poor. Kirkes, all right, the goal for me didn't really change much, although it did help the scoreline a little bit, let's say. Van Dijk looks, I don't know if many would agree, but I think he's ageing, to be honest. He seems to be off the pace. Konate, well, forget him. And Conor Bradley is, his initial promise that he was showing, over the last season or two, seems to be waning a little bit, to be honest. They just didn't play well at all. They'd be very disjointed. Can't even put a few passes together, to be honest. I'll come on to that in a minute in the ugly, but that's the bad this week. Not good reading, not good viewing. I should apologise to my other half who had to endure my effing and blinding and cursing during Liverpool's game, because it was just absolutely abysmal, terrible viewing. And that brings us on to the ugly. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out the ugly this week is going to be Liverpool's dramatic fall from grace, if we can call it that. I've got an article in the Mirror here where Andy Robertson has been quoted saying there's no structure. This was a report from Theo Squires, where the headline, Andy Robertson worrying Liverpool admission after Brentford, there's no structure. And he goes on to say Liverpool suffered a fourth successive Premier League defeat as they were beaten 3-2 by Brentford on Saturday evening, and Andy Robertson gave an honest interview afterwards. He had a fairly decent game when he came on. I think Joe Gomez played well as well when he came on. Andy Robertson, on the article here, it says Andy Robertson confessed that Liverpool didn't stick to their game plan. Why, I got no idea. In a brutally honest evaluation of the Reds' 3-2 loss to Brentford, Arne Slot's side were brought back down to earth with a bump after their midweek victory over Eintracht Frankfurt, suffering their fourth consecutive Premier League defeat. And he mentions in the article that they worked on long throw-in set pieces in training, I guess. And he mentions, to concede one so early on is very disappointing. And you have to wonder as well. And he mentioned something which Arne Slot said as well in his post-match where he said, other teams, they always have a game plan against us, and every team. And Arne Slot mentioned that other teams have a strategy of playing against Liverpool, and they have to find out a way to get around this. And I just find this a bit bizarre. We're talking about top players here, and I just struggle to see how they. I don't think it's about working out the strategy. I think it's just about performing better, working harder, being more organised. Because Liverpool are just all over the shop at the moment and getting muscled out. Kirkes, you can see he was miles away from Atara when he scored the opening goal. When he should have, you would expected him to be, pretty much hanging on to him. This is what, the players are doing to each other before corners or long throws come in. I just thought it was very poor. Van Dijk, sloppy. Konate, I thought he was dreadful, as he has been all season. Kirkes, let's hope in the next few weeks, months, he improves and gets into the way of playing, because he doesn't seem to be grasping it right now. I remember when Andy Robertson first came to the club, he didn't play for a little while, and I can't remember who the left back was at the time. But Robertson, he seemed as if, from what I understood, he was kind of getting to grips with the tactical nuances of how we're playing, and I don't think Kirkes has been afforded that so far under Slot. To me, he doesn't seem to know what is expected of him, to be honest. Just the whole team, Curtis Jones, actually, he deserves a mention, because I think he worked tirelessly in the game, and unfortunately he didn't really get much reward for his efforts. Florian Wirtz as well, disappointing. One would expect more from him, but I think he needs to settle in. We do remember he's only 22, and he's only just started in the Premier League and needs to really adapt. One can ask why Hugo Ekitike has actually started better. Who knows? It's just one of those things. But I think, Florian Wirtz is someone who needs a little bit of time to adapt. And we saw he done a lot better against Frankfurt, but then he knows them players. He knows how they play. But against the Premier League teams, clearly not on the performances up to now. So really not very good from Liverpool. And as a layman fan, let's say, just an ordinary bod, I would kind of ask, why isn't Arne Slot, dropping the likes of Konate, bringing in at least Joe Gomez in central defence, or maybe Wataru Endo, he can play central defence, and put Gomez onto the right back position. When Gomez came on against Brentford, he really did start to make some runs into dangerous positions, which Conor Bradley didn't seem to be doing, from what I recall. And you need to be able to influence the game, and this is what he was doing, and maybe this is what Liverpool need right now. The experience of a Joe Gomez, Wataru Endo, to come in and start the game, and maybe bring on Conor Bradley and Konate, God forbid, later on, if and when results dictate. It's just really poor at the moment, and I think we really need to start making some changes. I think one of the few players that comes out with any sort of credit, as I say, is Curtis Jones. He's playing for the team. McAllister, you can see, is suffering a bit. He's not had a pre-season, so he's lacking some sharpness there. You can see from him. Gravenberch is out. That's a loss. Yeah. The likes of Trey Neone, he was on the bench also Gamoa got a start. He came on as well. Maybe it's worth trying him as well. Maybe Frimpong is out as well. Maybe he can start in place of Salah. But at the moment, it's not looking good. And like most fans, I think it's about time. Or I would suspect, my view would be that we start to make some changes in order to try and get some better results. Not great. Enough said. On that note, I will bring this episode to a close. Spare us all. Look forward to the next fixtures where Liverpool have Crystal Palace in the League Cup, last 16. That's on Wednesday. Oof, not looking forward to that one. That's going to be at home. Let's see what we can do there. And then on the first Sunday, Aston Villa, who are in a rich vein of form at the moment, as we know. Some interesting games coming up. Real Madrid next week at home. So let's see. Man City away the following Sunday. We need to start getting our act together. So on that note, thanks very much for stopping by. As usual, like, subscribe, press the notification bell, and let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments section below. So look after yourselves and one another. And on that note, until the next one, peace. LFC File.